Special institutions for children to be formed. Sarawak in dire need of 34-wheel drive ambulance. Chinese travellers subject to mandatory COVID-19 test. Hello there, Assalamualaikum. I'm Kira Abang Mansur and you're now watching TVS Nightline. Joining India, Italy, Japan and Taiwan in taking new measures after Beijing's decision to lift stringent zero COVID-19 policies, the United States will impose mandatory COVID-19 tests on travellers from China. As such, beginning on January 5th, all air passengers 2 years old and older will require a negative result not more than 2 days before departure from China, Hong Kong or Macau. Meanwhile, passengers who test positive more than 10 days before a flight can provide documentation of recovery in lieu of the negative test result. Following an abrupt change of policy, China this month began dismantling the world's strictest COVID regime of lockdowns and extensive testing, putting its battered economy on course for a complete reopening next year. Sarawak is in dire need of 34-wheel drive ambulances in resolving problems concerning natural disasters and emergencies in remote areas of Sarawak. Deputy Minister in Prime Minister's Department, Sabah and Sarawak Affairs, Dr. Wilson Ugak Kumbong said that these assets are much needed to increase the service efficiencies of the Malaysian Civil Defence Force, APM, in Sarawak.
Bumi kita berlainan dengan di Semenanjung. Mereka mungkin memerlukan ambulans yang 4-wheel untuk pergi ke kawasan-kawasan seperti di Long Busang, di pengalaman ada di pendalaman seperti di kawasan saya, mungkin di Baram. Jadi aset-aset beginilah amat diperlukan. So saya telah meminta Tuan Pengarah ni untuk memberi nota kepada saya untuk dibawa kepada YBN dan beliau semasa Jemaah Menteri akan memberitahu kepada YIB Perdana Menteri kita untuk kalau boleh mestilah diluluskan kerana ini adalah satu aset yang sangat diperlukan untuk keperluan untuk negeri Sarawak ini.
Wilson spoke after his official visit to the Sarawak's APM's office at Sultan Iskandar's building. At the same time, he said that APM is ready to deploy their personnel to all flood hotspots in Sarawak following the weather forecast by the Malaysian Meteorology Department, Met Malaysia, starting January 2023.
Dan supaya dalam 2-3 bulan yang akan datang ini, supaya Met Malaysia juga dan juga jabatan social media atau jabatan penerangan ini memainkan peranan untuk memberitahu, menyiarkan bilakah ataupun tiupan angin dan sebagainya supaya orang-orang kampung dapat bersedia. Dan bagi diri saya percayalah negeri Sarawak mempunyai satu jawatan kuasa yang amat kuat dari segi kita menyelaraskan bencana-bencana negeri Sarawak ini di bawah yang berhormat Timbalan Premier kita.
The Member of Parliament for P214 Hulu Rajang also requested an allocation to build a training venue for Sarawak APM members to strengthen their skills, especially rescuing disaster victims.
The proposed establishment of a special department or institution for children has been brought to the Cabinet meeting and was approved in principle. Minister of Women, Family and Community Development, Dato Sri Nancy Shukri, said existing institutions are only focusing on the welfare of people ranging from various age groups when no special department was established to focus on issues concerning children.
Pegawai-pegawai kita dalam proses untuk melihat kepada perkara ini supaya ia khusus kepada kanak-kanak saja dan supaya kita dapat memfokuskan, bukan awak tak fokus tetapi oleh kerana bilanya satu bahagian saja dalam JKM maka mungkin itu tidak mencukupi.
Nancy added her ministry is currently examining the matter before making any decisions. Currently, there is only one department under the Community Welfare Department JKM looking into the concerns related to the children's welfare in the country. Nancy said this initiative is insufficient when the number of children's population in the country have increased to over 9.7 million.
Kami amat mengalu-alukan pandangan, saranan orang ramai yang mungkin dapat memikir yang terbaik dan insya-Allah lah kita akan melakukannya. Ya, itu sudah dalam sebelum itu saya dah bawa dalam kabinet dalam 3 mesyuarat yang lepas.
She said this when met by the reporters after a working visit to Mama Care at Urban Transformation Center Kuching UTC on Thursday.
The 1,500 ringgit minimum wage order PMG for companies employing 5 or fewer workers has been postponed to July 2023 instead of into effect on New Year's. This move was prompted by various parties and stakeholders who are expected to face major economic and financial challenges next year. Though the PMG benefits employees, President of SME Association Sarawak, Jordan Ong, said the policy previously triggered mixed reactions based on various factors.
All right. Although we welcome the measures to postpone, but we still feel that the effect is not significant enough. That is because when it was first introduced in year 2013, the minimum wage order have received a mixed reception. On one hand, it may be positive development for the employees. However, on the other hand, it may have a significant effect on the employers as well.
He further stated that the initiative may benefit more foreign workers than the local workforce. As such, Jordan said, employers would need more time to coordinate and restructure their businesses.
So this is particularly so when there is a 25% when we are looking at from 1,002 to 1,005. There is about 300 ringgit increase of 25% in labor costs for the minimum wages, especially for the workers. So we understand that SME need more time actually to reconsolidate their businesses, particularly when those who were seriously impacted during the past 2 years of the pandemic MCO. But however, in the perspective of the welfare of workers, we do understand that they are also suffering due to inflation and the increase of cost of the goods. Therefore, those who can really benefit from the measures that we can see are the foreign workers actually instead of the local workforce.
Meanwhile, he added that the postponement might be due to several factors, such as financial and economic uncertainties. As such, there is a chance that it might be postponed further in the future.
Hard to say, but I foresee it will be postponed further because from the SME perspective, especially the micros SME, they are likely to face tougher economics and financial challenges in the year 2022. As you can see, both the small businesses and the SMEs, they are facing the same dilemma. It's like with low wages, you can't get any workers. But with high wages, you tend not to able to be afford to get new workers. So you can see there is a dilemma in between. Therefore, I foresee the government, they will postpone, most likely.
PMG 2022 came into effect on May 1st, 2022, where all sectors will have to comply with the 1,500 ringgit minimum pay. However, exemptions were given to employers who employed 5 staff or fewer. They, however, would need to comply with the policy if its implementation is not extended further.
The call made by the Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Datuk Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, to mint the uniqueness of culture and tradition of the ethnic groups in Sarawak digitally is well received. Researcher and lecturer of the Faculty of Resource Science and Technology UNIMAS, Dr. Ileksan Nilian, seconded this move and said digitalization is the best approach in preserving the Sarawak's culture and heritage. Being a suburb native, a minority in Sarawak, Ileksan said digitalization will enable future generations to be in know of all the sub-ethnic and minority ethnic residing in harmony in the state.
But I think nowadays we move to digitalization. So even young generation, they are close to the media, social, all those things. So that this is one of those proactive initiatives from our state government in order to preserve our own culture. So actually, we have 34 ethnic, right, in Sarawak, but 31 of it is indigenous. And then some of the indigenous is not been known yet. So I think we need to have one platform to really explore and to really doing some of the exhibitions on those techniques. So I think this is one of good initiative that I'm looking forward as well to work together with any bodies outside there for this kind of effort. I think this do really help. It do really help our sub-ethnic, especially sub-ethnic, those sub-ethnic which I can name it. Other than my own support, I think they have Ukit, Muret, so Kediaman, Kedapan, Berawan, Tubawan.
At the same time, Alexson stressed that electronic media platforms such as TVS is the best platform in promoting Sarawak culture locally and internationally. Earlier, Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Sarawak, Datuk Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, wants to cultivate the digitalization of the culture and tradition of 34 ethnic groups in Sarawak as a source of reference to younger generation and travelers abroad.
Sarawakian novice turned national representative Sally Yap is runner-up of the 77-kilometer Asia Trail Masters Marathon at Mount Apo in the Philippines. In what began as a hobby, Sally has paved her way into making herself as the top 3 in Asia with a stellar conquest of Mount Apo with a distance of 77 kilometers, 3,900-meter height in 13 hours and 16 minutes.
It's based on the points that we collected from the events that we participated, like we Malaysians, we participated in like Borneo Ultra Trail, the most beautiful thing, Cameron Ultra. That's the points where I get to get selected. It's based on the. It's not based on the. That point is not only based on the participation itself. It's based on your performance. Maybe you're in top 1, 2, 3. So that's the point itself.
Sally explained that she had been dabbling in ultra trail marathons since March of this year. However, she said she has no plans to make ultra trail marathons a side career.
I just love running. So a friend introduced me in this events. Try something new, something challenging. Since I love to do something challenging, So I tried to register a few events. I never do this long distance ultra trail, because ultra trail is not a very easy thing, because it involved a very high elevation gains and a very long distance, and it's going to be like, it took many hours in a trail itself. So it's very challenging. It's very different than the road running, marathoning. It's only like 1 hour, 2 hours. So ultra trail marathon is, it's always like more than 5, 6 or 10 hours, or maybe 20 hours itself.
Sharing her journey in the sport, Sally said she won a few notable events throughout her participation in ultra trail marathons. They include Borneo Dragon Back Ultra, Borneo Ultra Trail Marathon, Hutan Ration Road Ultra Marathon, Cameron Ultra, Jagoy Heritage Ultra Trail, and The Most Beautiful Thing. She also placed third at the Malaysian Mountain Trail Festival and second at the Spartan World Championship Borneo Trail Classic. All of her events involve distances between 50 kilometers to 160 kilometers.
Coming up right after the break, no orders to close camping sites in Selangor. Empowerment of sustainable rural development must be inclusive. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. The Selangor government so far has not ordered the closure of any camping sites in the state following the Batangkali landslide tragedy on December 16th. Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Amiruddin Syahri said the state government need not make hasty and panic decisions. However, steps are now being taken to outline a few guidelines for camping sites in the state.
He said his side will take detailed steps to address concerns, such as the fact that camping site operators don't require a license. He added that they must approach the issue holistically, as such incidents are not a yearly occurrence and must be handled carefully. He revealed that his side is still awaiting a full report from the Mineral and Geoscience Department JMG regarding the incident. However, preliminary reports obtained from JMG and the fire department found that the landslide was caused by underground movement of water from upriver. Meanwhile, Sea of Cloud camping site owner KP Chong said to ensure visitors' safety, his team will constantly monitor the camping site surroundings. The 2:30 a.m. tragedy at the Father's Organic Farm camping site involved 92 victims, with 61 of them surviving while 31 others were killed.
The Ministry of Rural and Regional Development will focus on 4 main aspects in empowering rural sustainable development to ensure the well-being of rural and regional communities. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the 4 aspects include the improvement of good and efficient governance at the local, district and regional levels by connecting the private sector, civil society and government agencies. Zahid also added that descriptions of the characteristics of rural and regional development need to be refined, as this will affect the discourse and narrative of rural communities. The new 2023 budget, expected to be tabled this February 24th, will take into account the manifestos of all parties in the unity government. Deputy Minister of Finance, Datuk Seri Ahmad Maslan, said a special secretariat for the new budget has been established to examine and study the manifestos to be included in the budget.
Speaking at a press conference during his working visit to the Kemaman office of the Royal Malaysian Custom Department, JKDM, earlier today, Ahmad said some improvements will also be considered in the new budget to ensure it meets the people's needs and agenda. He also said the government would continue with some of the initiatives made by the previous administration in its 2023 budget, such as the assistance of 150 ringgit to every school student regardless of family income, which will be disbursed beginning this January 12th. The previous government, led by the former Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, had tabled the 2023 budget, but it was not passed nor debated in the Dewan Rakyat following the dissolution of Parliament on October 10th.
Thank you for staying with us on TVS Nightline. A cartoonist in the Gaza Strip is using real-life stories of people who suffer from violence and discrimination in Palestine and turning them into animation. Ola Barakat created a project named Picture and Story in order to raise awareness on various social issues, especially in Gaza.
I started creating cartoons in 2017. It was my actual start in this field, and I wanted to start with a film that explains and portrays the 2014 war on Gaza, the war that had affected us and still has its effect on us to this day, and we still remember its scars. So I tried to show the events that happened, how we were living in peace, and how in one moment everything changed to fear, destruction. It turned into a place that has no peace nor security.
Barakat also spoke on the challenges she faces living in Gaza, such as a lack of materials and regular power cuts by Israel.
The challenges I face are those related to the lack of raw materials that are used in the creation of this type of animation, especially those related to the characters. These characters can be made out of clay, not necessarily paper, but a specific type of clay that is not found in Gaza, and if it was available, it would be expensive. Another challenge is the constant power cuts that can last for more than 12 hours.
The latest film she created was called Come and Go, a story about gender roles and gender equality in the Gaza Strip, which took more than a month to finalize.
Through cartoons, you are able to portray various issues and tackle them in a simple way that can reach people and is relatable to them and that touches their heart.
Barakat has worked with different local organizations and participated in various film festivals, including the Terra di Tutti Film Festival in Italy. By creating stop-motion animation films with a message, Barakat aspires for her films to live in a wider scope and hopes that they can help raise awareness on the issues they were made to tackle.
I wanted to work closely on the issues related to children, especially since in the strip we live in fear and amid a blockade, in pain. Children suffer from various problems and issues, so I wanted to tackle these issues by portraying them in scenarios and turn it into cartoon films that are relatable and that can send a message.
Among all species that were highlighted by the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, this year, reindeers and penguins are struggling with a population decline due to an increasing number of threats. The organization said that both species are now in the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List of Threatened Species, which comprise more than 42,100 animals and plants.
Back in 2007, in the Taimyr region of the Russian Arctic, held the world's largest population of wild reindeer. Now, there are only a quarter of them remaining. According to WWF, climate change and poaching were the main causes for their decline. The organization also highlighted emperor penguins, saying that nothing had been done to protect the penguins this year. They further said that with the current levels of greenhouse gas emissions, emperor penguins would likely be at risk of extinction by 2100. On the flip side, WWF laid out positive examples of species conservation, which includes the tiger population in Nepal and the humpback whales in Australia, which are now recovering well. Nevertheless, more measures are needed to ensure the protection of all species, both animals and plants.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. More headlines anytime at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Shira Abang Mansor. Thank you for watching.